Hey guys, so again, this is to continue on the series that I did earlier. Not really a series, but the video I did earlier that was for brand new players to Mobas. And I want to share with you the next thing that you should be focusing on in this game. Now, after you're going through the roster and you're getting everyone level 5 and you find your favorite heroes and you're getting into quick match and you're deciding if you should go into unranked, the thing I really find is lacking in this game is purely something called soaking. Now, I think this is the main thing, really. Now, what soaking is effectively when minions die, experience is given to the team that's against the minions who died, but only if you were in that lane. If not, this experience is wasted. Now, experience in this game is very important. Experience allows you to get more talents by leveling up faster, as well as you gain more health and mana every time that you gain a level. So you become more powerful, as well as have a more varied playstyle. Now, gaining this experience is group wide. So if one person can get experience for their whole team, then their whole team can stay in the game for longer. For example, in this game, I'm going to show you that minions are dying and neither team is getting any experience. You can tell because experience would pop up above it whenever minions would die. So I start going into this game. I'm playing Alex Straza, and you can see I just mounted up and I'm heading up here. Now I want to show you what happens when a minion dies while I'm near. Experience pops up. This means that I'm getting experience for my entire team just for being in this lane. So playing a hero that can get rid of these minions quickly, that can allow you to move from lane to lane, is very, very valuable. Also, making sure that you're in the fight and available with your teams there, but also being in a lane and getting experience for your team, it might be more valuable to simply be getting experience for your team rather than actually being in the fight. Now, as games go on, it gets less and less important to stay in a lane, and that's another mistake, is people need to get used to going from lanes and sticking in the lane mentality, because if you're coming from another MOBA like League of Legends, the laning phase in League of Legends stays a lot longer than the laning phase in Heroes of the Storm. So you can see a lot of experience is being missed by blue team here, as well as by red team, because red team's pushing all of these minions over here, and blue team's minions are going to come over here and get some more kills. So we're just losing experience, a lot of experience. Now, red team is getting experience, but blue team is not. So blue team needs to come over here and get some experience. So now you can see when minions die on either lane, they'll get experience. Experience is such a valuable thing that you want to make sure to be getting it all the time. So that's essentially the biggest thing that I wanted to explain for you guys that are coming here 30 days later. You've practiced that, you're moving through the roster. Focus on soaking. The next thing is getting value out of camps. Now, on this particular map, these camps give you items instead of actually pushing. But on this camp, they still push. Now, camps are very powerful because they push. They give you a lot more value. So if you find that you're just sitting in lane a lot, you need to practice getting camps more often. So I'll recommend getting that later in this game. So the second thing I want you to focus on is camps. The third thing that I find new players have a hard time with is they enter fights with low mana way too often. So make sure to look at the abilities that you have and see what the mana costs are, and try not to waste those mana costs by doing dumb things. For example, if you are hitting enemies with certain abilities, make sure that you're not just wasting low damage abilities on enemies that might be better used for other purposes like CC or lockdowns or anything like that. As well as try not to heal people with an ability that heals for 150% of your health when they only are missing 10 health. So practice on utilizing your abilities correctly and healing so that you heal the most with using the least amount of mana. As well as if you're playing a damage hero, same deal. Say you're playing Alarak, which he has his W, which moves someone around and does very little damage. You don't want to keep wasting this mana without comboing it with your other abilities. As you can see, he pulled him in and then silenced afterwards. So making sure that you manage your mana as well as your fountains. I always like to get a fountain pretty early on because the cooldown of a fountain is 120 seconds, meaning that you can use your abilities, then you can simply use your fountain, and you can go back and have a fountain before an objective. But you always want a fountain available before the objective. So now that an objective is spawning, I can go back to myself, and you can see that I have a fountain available, as it's something that I've learned to manage very well. If you find that you don't want to use a fountain early and an objective is about to spawn, be willing to go back, because if you go into a fight with no mana, you're going to lose the fight. So it's better to just simply go back, get mana, and you can simply go back by pressing B, which activates your Hearthstone. If your Hearthstone activates fully, you go all the way back to here, and it instantly mounts you up, and it instantly gives you a large chunk of your health and mana, making it to where you can go all the way back to the fight and be full health and full mana before the fight. So I highly recommend backing before fights instead of during fights, because if you keep going into fights with low mana, you're effectively going to lose every fight. Mana is your blue bar that has all of your abilities on there as well, in case you were curious. Now each map has their own objectives, so managing the map so that you can win these objectives is extremely important. Many of the maps have different strategies, and I'm trying to do guides on all of the strategies for all of the maps. Currently, I don't have them all done, but I am working on them. So what I would recommend is checking out the different maps, seeing different strategies on them, and just trying new stuff. For this particular map, and one of the strategies that I really like on this map, is by taking a camp here. This camp will push all the way up in this lane and continue pushing this way. And if this camp, or if this objective is going, you can all be fighting here while this camp is getting a lot of value up here by pushing and destroying a lot of forts. It'll force the enemies into a decision of should they be defending against the camp. Now you can do this on a variety of maps, and there's a variety of strategies, so get creative by utilizing the camps at the right times, and I even have a small video for that too. So I'd recommend getting the camps at the right times and preparing for these objectives. When someone ever says, hey, prep objective, that means what they're saying is they're saying, hey, go back, get health, get fountains, get mana, get whatever you need to, and get camps before this objective spawns. Now, before the objective spawns, I never recommend getting a fountain. I always recommend going back, getting your full health and mana, and this way you have a fountain for during the fight. I'm going to show you what that looks like for this objective in just a second. We are getting this camp before the objective, which is exactly what you should be doing. And now we're letting the enemies get just the beginning of the objective, which is fine. And we're going to come in a little bit late. So now that we're here, you can see that we have a camp that's going to be pushing up at top lane. And that's going to help our waves push forward, as well as I still have a fountain available for this objective if we want to do a fight here. So I'm going to play through this fight at this objective, and we'll see how this goes. I get pulled in a little early, and I end up dying. Probably. Yes, I end up dying. So sometimes it's best also, when you're preparing for an objective, to not get caught. And watch where the enemies are. Positioning is extremely important, and something that you will need to work over the next 60 days or so is positioning. It's one of the hardest things to work on because there's no set answer for positioning. It's different for every hero you play. I'm going to fast forward through the fight, and you can see I can use some abilities really quick. And I can, if I need to, go back and get health. I always have a fountain later. Sometimes it's best that if you expect a fight to happen, to get a fountain even if you don't quite need it yet, because it allows you to play a little bit more aggressively. You can see I got the fountain right there, even though I was still full health and mana, because I knew that I wanted to play a little bit more aggressively. And fights can get definitely crazy, so it's best to learn a couple heroes at a time so you can understand what works well with them and what counters them. But also by playing a variety of heroes allows you to understand all the abilities that you'll be seeing. So you'll know which ones are the scariest and which ones to avoid. But that is effectively how you want to be preparing this game, what you want to be doing in the next steps, how you want to be improving. This is kind of the 30 days after my last guide where I said to focus on playing versus AI and leveling up heroes and unlocking new heroes and then getting into quick match. Once you get into quick match, I want you to focus on soaking, I want you to focus on camps, as well as I want you to focus on mana and health management before objective fights. If you have any other questions or you like this series and want me to continue it on for the next 60 days, let me know, and I will work on doing that video as soon as I have some time available. Thank you so much for watching, and again, if you have any other questions, toss in the comments below, or I will do a Discord link in there in the description. Discord is a voice chat program that allows us to kind of chat back and forth, and everyone on my Discord is very helpful, and they will answer as many questions as you have. Thank you so much for watching.